This book is no ordinary book and should not be read through from beginning to end. It contains many different adventures, and the path you take will depend on the choices you make along the way. The success or failure of your mission will depend on the decisions you make, so think carefully before choosing. Electronic discourse is one form of interactive electronic communication. In this study, we reserve the term for the two-directional texts in which one person using a keyboard writes language that appears on the sender's monitor and is transmitted to the monitor of a recipient, who responds by keyboard. In Japan, the tea ceremony is a ritual-like formalism in which green tea you prepare and serve to multiple guests in a tea-full setting. The ceremony can take as long as 4 hours and there are many traditional gestures that the server and the guests must perform. In the past, naming English as a separate subject seemed relatively easy. The textbook selected and graded items of language which were put into the content. New items were carefully controlled so that the student could cope quite easily. Now that English is used as a medium of instruction, However, all this has changed. The magnetic field is a vector field. At each point it has a magnitude and direction. The direction is defined as the direction of the force that a magnetic north pole would feel at that point. Since like poles repel and opposite poles attract, this means that the magnetic field goes away from the north pole of a magnet and towards the south pole. Japan is the world's calculator superpower. Japanese manufacturers have led sales of calculators for over 30 years in many countries. Even in the age of personal computers, calculators are still essential in accounting jobs. In addition, calculators with graphing capabilities have begun to be used in education. The brain is divided into two hemispheres, called the left and the right hemispheres. Each hemisphere provides a different set of functions, behaviors, and controls. The right hemisphere is often called the creative side of the brain, while the left hemisphere is the logical or analytic side of the brain. The right hemisphere controls the left side of the body, and the left hemisphere controls the right side. Moods may also have an effect on how information is processed, by influencing the extent to which judges rely on pre-existing, internal information, or focus on new, external information. Positive moods promote more holistic and top-down processing style, while negative moods recruit more stimulus-driven and bottom-up processing. Aquaculture, also known as aquafarming, is the farming of aquatic organisms such as fish, crustaceans, mollusks and aquatic plants. Aquaculture involves cultivating freshwater and saltwater populations under controlled conditions. The life of a hunter-gatherer is indeed, as Thomas Hobbes said of the state of nature, solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. In some respects, to be sure, wandering through the jungle bagging monkeys may be preferable to the hard slog of subsistence agriculture. Tissues are grouped together in the body to form organs. These include the brain, heart, lungs, kidneys, and liver. Each body organ has a specific shape and is made up of different types of tissue that work together. For example, the heart consists mainly of a specialized type of muscle tissue, which contracts rhythmically to provide the heart's pumping action. The natural world is an incredible place. There are soaring mountains and rolling sand dunes, spectacular beaches and shimmering lakes, steaming geysers and bubbling volcanoes, and so much more. Although it's all truly dazzling, there are a few destinations and sites around the world that stand out from the rest. And the most significant of all are the 7 natural wonders of the world. Japan is the world's calculator superpower. Japanese manufacturers have led sales of calculators for over 30 years in many countries. Even in the age of personal computers, calculators are still essential in accounting jobs. In addition, calculators with graphing capabilities have begun to be used in education.
As the inventor of alternating current technology, Nikola Tesla played a paramount role in the electricity used to power the entire world. Tesla also worked diligently on a dream of supplying electrical power without wires. Thomas Edison was also instrumental in shaping society today with his inventions. Edison's design of the inside of the light bulb was the crucial key to making a light that would stay lit for hours instead of going out almost immediately. The problem is that increased immune vigilance has a side effect: allergies. Our speculation is that this is some kind of trade-off. In the past you needed to resist some kind of pathogen, and the trade-off or sacrifice you have to make is increased responsiveness to non-pathogenic allergens. So next time some of you get the springtime sniffles, blame your distant ancestor, the one with the heavy brow ridge. The dyes and pigments available in any particular period in which a specific color photographic process was invented, manufactured and used have profound effects on the quality of color that defines most of the style and particular historical period. The central idea of this book concerns our blindness with respect to randomness, particularly the large deviations. Why do we, scientists or non-scientists, hotshots or regular Joes, tend to see the pennies instead of the dollars? Why do we keep focusing on the minutiae, not the possible significant large events, in spite of the obvious evidence of their huge influence? Environmental, individual and social traits of free-ranging raccoons influence performance in cognitive testing. Shy raccoons are better learners than bold ones, a result that has implications for our relationship with urban wildlife.
Food is one of the most important things you'll ever buy. And yet most people never bother to think about their food and where it comes from. People spend a lot more time worrying about what kind of blue jeans to wear, what kind of video games to play, and what kind of computers to buy.
One of the major factors influencing future home design will be the probable change in climate, with hotter summers, colder winters, and the possibility of floods. Consequently, houses will be built with better insulation and will also need ways of keeping cool in hot weather, whether that's air conditioning or more shading of windows. Two sisters were at a dinner party when the conversation turned to upbringing. The elder sister started to say that her parents had been very strict and that she had been rather frightened of them. Her sister, younger by 2 years, interrupted in amazement. "What are you talking about?" She said, "Our parents were very lenient.
Networking is easy and fun because it taps into this human predilection to talk about ourselves when asked. Consider successful networking as little more than the process of guiding a person to tell you about his life, what he's doing, the company that employs him, and his current industry.
Carbon is essential to life on Earth, but scientists still struggle to grasp its complexities. Most research to date has focused on major sources of the greenhouse gas carbon dioxide, and the use of fossil fuels. A new study has come to the counterintuitive conclusion that plants might accumulate more carbon in the presence of predators and herbivores. Your subject outlines are a good place to go to find information about which textbooks to buy. You will usually be given one of these for each subject in the first lecture, but if you are missing one or need one earlier, then you should contact the subject coordinator. Globalization refers to a set of changes rather than a single change. Many of these changes are social, cultural, and political rather than purely economic, and one of the main drivers in addition to the global marketplace is the communication revolution.
A common way of permitting others to use an intellectual property right is to give express permission for it. This can be done in return for financial remuneration. In such cases, the holder of an intellectual property right is often referred to as granting a license to use what the holder otherwise has exclusive rights to, subject to certain conditions. The benefits of home fencing are not only as a barrier between the area of the house and the surrounding environment. In simple words, a fence is a formation or structure that is above the ground and is generally vertical, with the intention of limiting an area, protecting everything inside the fence, from threatening danger from outside the fence.
Many floods take hours to come into full effect, so they provide people with time to evacuate safely while salvaging as many of their valuable possessions as they can. Sometimes, however, floods generate in minutes and give little warning to their formation. These are known as flash floods, and can be